Welcome, guys. Extra Talk today with Papimento, and we have a special guest. It has everything to do with the Champions League draw last week. We drew, of course, Sporting Portugal, Besiktas, and not the least, Dortmund. And today we have a Dortmund fan with us. He's smiling already. He has a lot to say about Dortmund. We have a lot of questions for him as well. Johannes, welcome.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Thank you for being on the channel. Thank you also on such short notice, of course. Look, we're going to talk about Dortmund. We're going to talk about Ajax. We have both perspectives today. We had the draw, very interesting. But before we start, we always ask our new guests basically that come in, how did you become a fan of your football club? So Johannes, explain to us how you became a Dortmund fan.
Oh, I think I became a Dortmund fan like how most people became fan of their clubs, like through family and in particular my brother. I'm born in Berlin, but Berlin like hasn't really had any big clubs to go to. Like, yeah, you have Hertha Berlin like with a capacity of 80,000, but for some reason, like my brother never was attracted to him, and he was always like fan of the like a fan of the yellow and black, and became a Dortmund fan. And I pretty much got like indoctrinated by him. You could probably say that. So yeah, I got it through my big brother.
And how long ago is this approximately?
Oh God, I've been supporting Dortmund since I was, I don't know, 10, 12, so like 15 years, 13 years, somewhere there.
Wow, amazing, amazing. So, Papimento and Johannes, I'm going to ask you the question. We saw the draw a couple of days ago, last week, basically. What was your reaction when you saw the draw? Let me go with Papimento first.
You had all these games before we started doing that, and you had one that the picture keeps changing and you had to do a screenshot, and I predicted the right screenshot, all the teams that were in. When I got it, I was like, okay, I can live with that. Ajax has a chance here to become or second or first in the group, and I was happy. But the longer I started to think about it, I was like, actually, this is pretty deadly group with Sporting, that's a very good side, and we have Dortmund, that's a very good side. So,
Johannes, your take. What was your reaction?
Initially, I was quite happy, to be completely honest. And I was like, yeah, okay, all good. Ajax, we could probably beat them one game and like draw or lose the second one. Besiktas and Sporting won't be a problem. And then I started thinking about it. And I still believe that Besiktas will be quite like no game in the Champions League is easy, but it will be easier. But then I realized you can never underestimate Sporting ever. Like they have the names of Bruno Goncalves, Cuadras and Palinha. They've lost Nuno Mendes now to PSG just a couple of hours ago. So that's quite promising for our teams. And Ajax, I don't even want to think about playing against Ajax. You guys are incredibly strong at the moment, and our defense is lacking.
We will come to that.
So I still think Dortmund will advance and probably will come first in the group, but it won't be comfortable at all. At all.
Look, the feeling I had, right, when I saw the draw as well, I was a little bit relieved at the beginning because, look, at the end of the day, we're not playing any Spanish sides. We're not playing any English sides. You know, we're not even playing any Italian sides. So when you think of it, you're like, okay, I can live with this group. But then you look at the groups, right? We have 3 champions in the group. And then we have also on top of that, we have Dortmund. And I think the thing is, when you start thinking about it, like you guys said, the levels are maybe not that, I mean, you never know how it pans out, but the levels are not that big from each other. So it can go either way, basically. I think Dortmund is the favorite. I have to be honest about that, but we'll talk about that in a minute. But at the same time, Ajax can win all games, but Ajax can also lose points from all these teams. So, you know, it's very, and especially Besiktas, what I've understood, playing Besiktas in Turkey is not easy. I mean, we have to be honest about that as well. So look, back to Dortmund, because today is about Dortmund. Johannes, we have a couple of questions for you, also for the viewers. We want to know a little bit more about Dortmund, right? So last year, we're not going too far back. Last year was kind of a tricky season, special season. You guys started with Favre, then you guys got an interim coach. Favre left, and then since the summer, you guys hired Rose. Marco Rose from Gladbach. Very interesting. And what we want to know basically is how has this transition been of Dortmund lately? And how do you see this? Do you see that this coach is the coach to basically bring you guys closer? Maybe I'm not allowed to say that, and Dortmund fans will not appreciate this, but bring you closer to Bayern?
Oh, trust me, we are very well aware of the fact that we are behind Bayern. It's all good. They have too much money. When Favre got replaced, I was really relieved last year. And we got Terzic, our interim coach, who's never coached before. He used to be a talent scout for Dortmund, which was quite of a gamble. But in the end, it started off really rough. But in the end, he won us the German Cup. It's one of the three things you can ask from a coach. So for somebody who's never coached before, he did a really, really good job. There were a lot of Dortmund fans like me thinking that maybe, because we signed Rose like a couple of months before the season ended. And there were a lot of Dortmund fans like me who were like, well, maybe we should just buy out Rose's contract and keep Terzic at it because he's doing a really, really good job at the moment. But in the end, having a more experienced coach will probably pay out in the end. We won big the first game of the season. We've advanced in the German Cup. We lost against Freiburg, which really hurt, but we won a third game. So I think our form will keep improving, and I think Rose will be the way forward for us.
Yeah, despite what you said, despite the changes, last year, at the end it turned out to be quite a good season. You guys qualified for the Champions League. I think you guys were third in the league.
I think third, like 1 or 2 points behind Leipzig. So it was really close.
Exactly, it was close. Exactly. At the same time, you guys reached the quarterfinals of the Champions League. You guys lost to City, but it was close in terms of the results. Not in terms of the game, but in terms of the results. But at the end, quarterfinals Champions League, you won the cup, as you said, third, close to Leipzig as a second. It was not a bad season, despite having the transition of the coaches, right?
No, overall, considering how the season started and how Favre was doing the panel really well. There was probably when we had 10, 15 games left in the season, I genuinely believed that we wouldn't play Champions League next year. I genuinely thought we should be happy with playing Europa League, but well, we pulled it back. I'm quite happy with it.
Very good.
Been a lot worse.
Look, before I ask you another question, I just want to turn to Pimento. Maybe he has a question for you as well.
I do have a question. The difference between Favre and
Rose,
the new coach?
Yeah,
Rose.
exactly.
Do you see a lot of difference in the way of play, and did they become better with the new coach?
The thing is, Favre wasn't a bad coach. Let's just get that one clear. In the beginning, he won a lot of games with Dortmund. He won a lot. I think he ended his coaching career in Dortmund with 40 or 50 more wins than losses. So he wasn't a bad coach, but he didn't make the right decisions about the formation and the playing style when it actually mattered. And what Rose does is Favre, I got the picture of he tried to play possession football, with players at that point when we had Sancho, Haaland, and Hazard, each on one side. You got to play quick and aggressive football. You can't play holding ball. You can't just pass around the middle and wait for Hummels and Witzel to do a brilliant pass, because that'll happen once or twice a game, but you need more than that. What Rose does is he tries to his playing style is he tries to win possession really far up the pitch, or play more of a counter counter playing style. So he uses the abilities and the speed of the team way more than Favre ever did, in my opinion.
Yeah,
way more, because we have so many fast players and we need to use them.
Exactly.
And my next question is you guys lost Sancho. Is that a big loss? And did you guys get someone beside to fill in his shoes, or will it be a youth player?
Well, we recruited Daniel Malen. I figure you guys are quite happy over losing him from their division, because he used to play for PSV, didn't he?
Yeah, he did. Yeah.
Well, actually,
he's brilliant by for Dortmund then.
Yeah, he played for PSV. Before that, he was in the Arsenal academy, and Arsenal got him from the Ajax academy. So he used to play for us in the youth, basically. Yeah, that's how
Of
things
course,
go. Yeah, but Male is a good player. I have to be honest about
yeah.
it.
The problem, like losing Sancho would be a big loss for any club, like any club of like the capacity Dortmund has. Everybody knew it was going to happen. Everybody thought it was going to happen last year. We kept him one more year, and I'm really happy with it. It's the same thing with everybody knowing that Haaland will eventually leave. I just really hope that we somehow do the same thing that we did with Sancho, like renew his contract so we can get more money from him, because getting 60 million euros for Haaland will be an insult, like considering how good he is and how much he will be worth in the future. Yeah. The only player that we have to replace Sancho is pretty much Marlon, but that's something, thank you for saying that, because that leads me into it. This is like the first time in I think 5 or 6 years, if not even more, that Dortmund is actually playing 2 strikers at once. Dortmund always used to play 1 striker, and we always only had 1 competent striker. It was all the way like this, from Barrios into Lewandowski, into Aubameyang, into Immobile, who wasn't very competent, into Palacios, who was only competent when he got subbed on, and now into Haaland. We only used to have 1 striker. Now we have 2 competent strikers, and I'm really looking forward to how the season will play out with actually having 2 people who can score consistent goals and playing a more of a narrow formation instead of a wide one.
Exactly. That's also the tactic that Rose applies, also compared to Favre. If we talk about formation, right? Does Favre, correct me if I'm wrong, does Favre play 4-3-3 more?
Favre used to play 4-3-3 and even dipping into the 5 backs with the wing backs, like when it used to be Piszczek and Guerrero, of them running a lot of balls on the side, and Sancho having like more of a central role. Terzic tried every single formation there was. Yeah. Like if you go into FIFA and just slide through the formations.
Right? Yeah, he was the interim coach. Yeah, the Terzic.
Yeah, Terzic was the interim coach. That's where that's what I'm referring to with Terzic. If you go into FIFA and just slide formations, that's pretty much what Terzic did in front of, like, before every game. He just slided. All right, we're playing 5-3-1-2. Right, Lego boys.
But was it because he adapted to the opponents or opposition? Was that his style?
Yeah, I mean, he just wanted to try a lot of things out because it could work. Like something unusual and not expected could actually work, like tactic-wise, because he really believed the players could do it. And being a scout for Dortmund, like a talent scout, you have to have an eye for talent. And you have to have an eye for, you as Ajax supporters know everything about like academy and how important it is. But the scouts are so knowledgeable about the player skill set and what they could actually do. And I believe that's what made Terzic into the coach that he was, like, even though he was coaching for the first time. He knew what the players were able to do, and he really capitalized on it, and it worked out really well. But Rose will play more of a narrow formation and like either getting the ball high up, as I said before, or pretty much playing a counter game. And that suits Dortmund really well.
Yeah, so if I look at Rose plays more sometimes, like you said, 1 striker. Is it more like a Christmas tree type of formation, 4-3-2-1?
For Rose?
Yeah.
The games I've seen from him, like the last 2 games were 2 striker positions.
2, okay.
Like with Marlon and Haaland starting. First one didn't work out that well against Freiburg. We lost 2-1. That one hurt. But the second one worked out really well, like with Haaland playing brilliantly and Marlon playing bang on average.
Yeah, I'm sorry, you said 2 strikers, so 4-3-1-2. So you have an attacking midfielder behind those 2 strikers, right?
Yeah, we have that. We're quite spoiled for choice on attacking midfielders, but at this point, like Royce is playing it, you could pretty much say that we're playing like a 4-1-2-1-2 narrow with like Bellingham and Karud being like a little further back, Royce further to the front with Marlon and Haaland in front of him.
Okay. And you guys don't have a holding midfielder?
No, because Witzel is playing centre back.
Okay, all right.
That's depressing, I know, but it's true.
Yeah, no, I understand. Look, you're talking about you guys play more narrow now, right? And you guys play much more, how do you call it, like with speed and also aggressive. That's because also Rose likes to press a lot, right? And I would assume if you implement this in the squad, it takes some time, because if you don't press well, you're very vulnerable and you can concede goals. Is that what's happening right now in the beginning, at the start of the season for you guys?
I will forgive any trainer for pretty much 10, 15 games when they come to a squad, because Rome wasn't built in a day, and neither will a league winning team. It'll just not happen. Sorry, what was the question?
The question was, because you talked about playing narrow, and you also talked, and we want to explain a little bit to the viewers what you mean by that. So he plays narrows, but that's also because he wants to press a lot, and he plays much more with speed than his, with Favre, who played possession football, as you said.
He wants to use the speed of the squad, because if you have players like Marlon, who is really fast, and Haaland, who is, God knows, even faster, you will need to use the speed up front. Right now, Hazard is injured, but he's also like one of those speedsters, and Reina ain't slow either. So you can pretty much have the players back and let them lob long passes into the front, because somebody will be there to catch that ball and pass it further on. And that's a football you need to play. Like, at this point, everybody has seen what Haaland can do, especially in the Champions League. Yeah. Give that ball, boys, and he will score 3 goals a game for you. He just will. He's that freaking good. So, and I think Rose will realize that.
Would you say, Papimento? I'll be asking you a question in a moment. One more question, Johannes. Would you say that the strength, because we're talking now about the strength of the team, right, of Dortmund, would you say it's really the attacking side of it?
Yes.
Okay.
Most definitely.
All right.
And do I get it right that they try to overload the center and attack from there?
Considering, you could pretty much say it. Because considering Reina starts a couple of games and then he's benched for a couple of games, like he usually plays like a right mid-cam role. Considering what form Royce is in, because as everybody knows, Royce is injured quite a lot. And if Hazard is not injured and Reina ain't injured, they could pretty much play on the sides, and we could probably do a 4-2-4 or something, depending on who our center backs are. But at this point, we will probably overload the middle a lot, or have Haaland and Marlon step out 5 meters, 5 meters to the side each, to have them play both in the middle and a little bit on the edges.
So
probably depends on who we're facing.
In addition to that, right, you're saying that we play a lot through the center, we play narrow. Does it mean that nothing happens on the wide side of the pitch? Is there anything that your wing backs or fullbacks, what's their role in this new system?
I can only answer for our left back, because we don't have a proper right back. Our left back is Guerreiro, and he's been injured the first game, and he's had quite a slow start to the beginning of the season. I will not accept any Guerreiro slander ever. I love that boy. Last season he was the goat of the team, and I'm not even kidding. No, but our weakest position at this point, our left back, I will always believe in Guerreiro figuring something out. And if Guerreiro doesn't do it, they just go to a 3-back and swap Hazard on. But our weakest point, definitely as a single position, is our right back, because we have Mounier, who was past his expiration date when he came from PSG. We have Paslak, who I don't even want to talk about that man at the moment. He just hasn't stepped up to the challenge. And the one competent right back we actually have is Morey, who we got from Barcelona or Real, I think, and he's injured.
Okay, so is it a serious injury or just short term?
Oh, no. Morey, tore ligament. He's out until June 2022. Okay. He won't be playing the season.
All right.
He's completely done.
Look, and another question I have, right? I mean, honestly, and this is a little bit stretching from the conversation, but what's up with your goalkeeper situation? I know you guys bought now a goalkeeper from Stuttgart, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah. But I always thought you guys were sooner or later come and buy. I know that now it's a bit difficult and tricky, but you guys would buy Onana much earlier from Ajax. So tell me, what's the situation? Why you guys give so much confidence to Burki?
Oh, we didn't. Trust me. I wouldn't trust that man to fill up my glass of water, to be honest, because he would probably drop that shit. Oh God, no. Burki, well.
But
being Swiss, at least the flag is a huge plus. No, consider this, like Berkey started last season and he's been so inconsistent. I've pretty much begged to the gods that we get like a proper goalie, not just a talented goalie, just a proper good goalie. Because we are the team, like we could probably attract a couple of good goalies. God, there's so many good goalkeepers in the Bundesliga. And yet Berkey was always bang on average. And you don't win a league title with a bang on, like with an average goalie. He was actually that inconsistent last season that when he got injured, he got replaced by by Hitz. And when Berkey was well again, he just didn't play. They just used the like 34-year-old second goalkeeper because he was more consistent than Berkey. And now we bought Kobel from Stuttgart. I really hope we would get Ortega from Bielefeld, because that boy played on one of the worst teams in the Bundesliga and was like placed 5th in like clean sheets and saving statistics. He was actually insane. Like, yeah, having 15 clean sheets and still like letting in 40 or 50 goals says a lot about your defense.
Yeah.
But no, we got Kobel. But I've got to be honest, I've been impressed by that boy. He's been playing well. He's been so good. I really thought like Onana was one of the names that I was thinking about actually getting, because he's playing now again, right?
No,
I'm not that up on the situation.
Not yet. In November he can play.
Okay, November.
Yeah.
Because it was like doping for him?
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think if he wouldn't have like went there with the doping scandal, we would have probably bought him. And I genuinely believe like January or something, probably would have probably bought him, because our goalkeeper situation was catastrophic. You can't play a second goalkeeper and expect to like play the Champions League and play Manchester City.
Yeah, exactly.
No, but Kobel, our new goalkeeper that we got from Stuttgart, I'm really impressed with him. He's been really, really solid. Like he's been man of the match, probably. Like the last game was definitely man of the match. Yeah. No question. Against Hoffenheim, he was the best one on the pitch.
Now the first goalkeeper, right? He's the number one now.
Yes, he's number one. So yeah, we have Berkey and then Hitz, but I think Berkey is at this point our third goalkeeper.
Yeah. Papimento, do you want to ask something? I have a couple of questions still for Johannes before we talk about
I just want to know, like the average age of Dortmund. Is it a young team? Does Dortmund see itself as a youth development club, or is it more than that?
Good question. That was really one of my questions as well.
Oh, really?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Because you know what, Johannes?
Is it a young team, Johannes? Just
yeah, because look, I want to stretch that question a little bit more. Look, correct me if I'm wrong. I think Dortmund about 10 years ago, I think it happened when you guys had problems financially. You guys made a switch basically in terms of club philosophy. Correct me if I'm wrong. And you guys started a new philosophy in which you guys had very talented players, a little bit of mixture, of course, with experienced players, but you guys went over the years, and you guys are still doing it. You guys get really good young players, opportunities in the market. And as you mentioned, the scouting is very important in this case. But then again, I start questioning, and this is also the question that I asked you before. With this philosophy, how realistic is it that you guys can compete with Bayern? Because Bayern, of course, they sometimes get good players, but it seems like they get all the good players that mature in the Bundesliga or somewhere else, and they buy them up, and they're always a step ahead of the rest. And again, I'm not being negative towards Dortmund. So
no. But just to add to that, Juan, look, Dortmund had amazing players like Matt Hummels back in his prime. You had Lewandowski back in his prime, and they all made the step towards Bayern. So my question is, why do they make that step? Why don't they just stay at Dortmund?
Right. I'm gonna take the questions in order, to be honest. I've written them down here, so I can all take them. Yeah. First one, is Dortmund a young team? Not as young as everybody thinks, but younger than most teams. Considering like last season we started Moukoko at like 16 years of age and like 4 days in the Champions League. We have Haaland, who's, I don't know, is it 19, 20, that boy? He looks like 28, but he's 20. We have Reina, who's sub 20 as well. We used to have like Pulisic when he was really young before he went to Chelsea. Dortmund Now Dembele, like when we bought him for, does anybody remember, 12 million euros, sold him for 121 years later.
Exactly. Exactly.
I think Dortmund has become what like Ajax used to be in that kind of sense, a European top club where you will get game time despite you being really young, as long as you're talented. Because like when I grew up, Ajax was the club you played for when you were young and talented. That's just it. You're going to Ajax. Just look at it. Ibrahimovic, Suarez, like all those guys, they all played in Ajax.
Yeah.
But now like Dortmund has pretty much taken over that role for like players, like especially if they're not German. For example, Sancho got a lot of playing time. Pulisic was American. Reina, who's American. Haaland, who's Norwegian. Just the recent ones. Bellingham as well, who's really impressed me. That was like Dortmund paid like 40 million euros or 35 million euros for a 17-year-old. Huh? Dortmund didn't even pay that much for Royce, I think, when we got it from Gladbach.
Yeah.
But no, Dortmund is like in some positions too young probably, and in some positions too old. But that mix of like youthful energy and experience makes for quite a good mix in the team itself, which works at the moment. Going to the philosophy of Dortmund with getting a lot of players and selling them 1 to 3 years later for a lot of profit, we could probably win like the league for 1 year and then Bayern will win them for another 5-10, because there's no consistency in that kind of club philosophy. It just doesn't work. You can't just have your best players leave after every single year. Like it works in the NFL because there's such a big talent pool. You can just replace them, no problem. But it doesn't work in football. It takes such a long time to like work up like the playing integrity, especially considering playing against teams like Bayern, who will keep their players for years and years.
Yeah, and my question would be also you as a fan, but also the other fans. You guys are okay with it?
At this point, like especially like it was bad before the COVID situation, but right now the club is bleeding money. So at this point, shit, like I didn't want Sancho to go, but like if it saves the club, he has to go. Yeah. Like if we need the money, it has to happen. But I would like over the future, like I have nothing against buying young players that are really good, but we got to keep them. Like we have to make it attractive. But that's a completely different problem when teams in England are prepared to pay you 4 times the salary. True. Like the fan-owned clubs in Germany can compete with $1 billion shakes from like City or PSG. We just can't.
True.
So it hurts, but it's a part of modern football which just bugs me off.
Yeah,
it hurts.
Understood. Look, we talked a lot about Dortmund, right? Let's switch a little bit now to Ajax. Pimento. So looking at Ajax right now, it was very, I mean, this transfer window usually for Ajax has been not that impressive, was quiet. Also for us, we didn't sell any important players. I mean, we saw Brobbey go on a free transfer, but we knew he was going to leave to Leipzig. And other than that, you know, Traoré, we sold Traoré, but none of the first team's players or squad players left. And we bought Berghuis from Feyenoord, you know, and we still have a lot of players. We still have Onana, we still have Tagliafico, we still have Neres. As far as we know right now, we're recording on a Tuesday. We have 3 hours to go. So fingers crossed for that one. But how do you think? Do you think we're further? We can expect more from Ajax compared to last year?
Yes, I do. And but let me just go back a little bit. Look, when we started Champions League last year, it was with 2 youngsters. Basically, we were dependent on Traoré, and we had Huntelaar as backup, but also Brobbey was a necessity during the winter break, and not enough experience. And when we bought Haller, I think now we have different types of players on same positions, so you could adjust the way you want to play. You saw also last year the team kind of fell into place during the season, not at the beginning of the season. Like Rensch came, Timber began to play with the first team. That wasn't the case when we were playing Champions League. That was with Schuur still, you know. We were still building a team. Good players left us. So we started kind of weak, I would say, in the Champions League. Kudus got injured. We gave away that game against Atalanta where we were 2-0 ahead, and we still get out with a draw, just 1 point. That could have given us the edge, you know, to go through the group phase. So I do think everybody is set in his position. I read that Fabrizio tweeted before we started that Taifiko is not going anywhere. So we have Blind on the left back and we have Taifiko on the left back with different set of skills, so we can play differently. I think now with Haller and Tadic, you have two different players that can play the 9 position, two different styles of play as well. I hope that when Kudus is back and we can really use him, that's going to be the additional boost for us in the midfield. So yeah, are we stronger? Yes. Are we? Is the team chemistry better? Yes, I do think so. Do we have a chance? Yes, I even think we can make it as #1 in this group, depending on certain luck within the group phase. But if you look at the fixtures, you have Sporting first, then Besiktas, then twice Dortmund, and then Besiktas Sporting. So you don't want the last game to be the decider, and I hope that's not going to happen.
Yeah, and also we added, I said Berghuis, but we added another winger as well, Darami, last minute, who also came.
Yeah, but I got so excited with Anthony, man, and we have Berghuis as a different type of player for the wing. We have Darami, we have Tadic. I would say every position is, if we're all fit, very good position, like with backups and the first team. I like it, and we have a chance. It's just people staying fit, man. That's the most important thing, because you know when we go to the bench, we lose a little bit of strength, of quality, but that's normal with an Ajax, right? Additionally, I wanted to add, Juan and Johannes, that if I look specifically against Dortmund, I think Dortmund can really hurt us in the aerial ability of Haaland and the speed they have, like in the counter attack, because you know Ajax is not very fast, especially our front line. We have some fast players like Timber, Rensch is pretty quick, and Mazraoui. But if you look at the Blind class, those Tadic, Haller, not the fastest type of players, so they can hurt us there, I think. But I do still think that Ajax good on a good day can have Dortmund, definitely.
All right. Look, I wanted to ask you, Johannes, also your take on how you see the matchup, the two matchups against Ajax. But also what I wanted to ask you, which was triggered a little bit, but what Papimento said, look, Ajax's biggest thing, we never had this before. It's arguably we have the most depth in the squad we've ever seen. We can put a lot of good players on the bench this year, which is something unique for Ajax standards. How is this with Dortmund? Because I noticed you mentioned a little bit, you guys, if you have the starting 11 and everybody's fit, you guys have an amazing team. But if you guys have a couple of injuries here and there, do you guys then fall back a little bit in terms of quality?
I think yes, because like every club.
It's hard to admit, right? It's hard to admit.
Yeah, of course it's hard to admit. It hurts my fucking gut. Sorry for swearing. And of course, okay. I'm quite sure every club has like their starting 11 they want to play, and the rest just needs to be rotated in. At the moment, like Dortmund is a club, I don't know what it is with the club, but as soon as you join Dortmund, you just get a tendency to get injured. I don't know what they do in training to those boys, or if they don't give them enough vitamin C or something, but everybody gets injured all the time. Like at this point, I think like, because I mentioned earlier that we're playing Witzel at center back. That's only because Emre Can is injured, the center defensive mid who usually plays center back when everybody else is injured. I'm really thankful that Akanji started pulling his weight and actually plays decent. But Mats Hummels is injured and his return is unknown, which is very positive for you guys, because that, like Mats Hummels is the playmaker. Like nothing happens without Hummels pretty much approving it, because he plays every ball like both through the center and out on the edges. Mats Hummels does it all. And he's injured. Zagadou is injured. Yeah, and also like two of our like we had three really good center backs, but two of them are injured. That's why we're playing a CDM at center back in Witzel, who is an amazing CDM, and like one of probably the top 10 CDMs in the world, like in my opinion, because there aren't that many good CDMs, so he makes the cut. But he has to play center back. I saw like only a couple of hours ago, we actually got a center back on loan from Wolfsburg. God, where's his name? I wrote it down somewhere. Anyway, like we have a new center back. I don't want to say anything wrong.
Okay.
That's okay, but if this center back is he good? Is he gonna play first team? Will Witzel go back to the midfield, or
can you give me 1 second to second? Like one second to just check it.
Of course. Go ahead. Well, meanwhile, Papimento, I wanted to ask you something. You talked about Ajax, of course, compared to last season. What do you feel about the goalkeeping situation?
I do think like Stekelenburg and Pasveer do not reach the level that Onana had. So I am kind of worried that it's not the same level, because Onana saved us a lot of the time, and I'm not sure Stekelenburg can do that, and Pasveer either. I am very hopeful about Gorter though, and I think he has a bright future. Just maybe this year young Ajax, and next year be a starter, because he's been looking really good.
Yeah, exactly. So did you find him, Johannes?
Yeah, just give me 1 second. I just want to check how he played last year.
Sure.
So he's 23, so quite young for centre back in usual Dortmund fashion. He played for Wolfsburg. I think we have him on a loan with like buying option of like 10-15 million euros, so quite cheap as well.
What's his name again?
Pongracic, Marin Pongracic from Croatia.
All right. And he was a starter for Wolfsburg. He used to play for Wolfsburg.
I genuinely can't answer that, because I think Wolfsburg, I think considering they loaned him out, he probably wasn't a starter.
Yeah.
But if Dortmund takes him in, he has to have some kind of talent, because we have another centre back, and I think his name is Papadopoulos, who we promoted from the second team, who hasn't played yet. But how good can he be if he doesn't make the cut against the like 29-year-old centre defensive mid? I really hope we get Pongracic in, because we just need a proper centre back. Like, no disrespect to Witzel, he does the job okay, but we need a proper centre back to get Witzel up into the centre defensive. Like,
how long is Emre Can injured for?
Emre Can is injured for muscular problems, so unknown. So it could be anything from 1 week to 3 months. Nobody knows.
Exactly. So, Johannes, the question, of course, Papimento said already a lot of things, but what do you know of Ajax? I mean, in general, do you follow Ajax a little bit? Do you know a couple of players that play for Ajax? And how do you see your chances against Ajax in the Champions League?
Right, let's just start like this. If we would have faced Ajax in the Champions League in 2017, I would have been afraid. In 2017, you had
18, you mean?
everything.
18, 19, you mean?
It was 2019 with De Ligt and
De Ligt and Frankie,
yeah. In 2019, I would have been afraid. Right now, I think you said a couple of names earlier that I recognized. I know that Tagliafico is proper good. He's a left back, right?
Correct.
He's properly good. Tadic has been a really good like center forward striker for a couple of years, and no idea how he actually like managed to keep him, because he's been playing like really well for you.
He loves Ajax.
He just does love that kind of culture. He just stays because he loves the club.
Yeah, it's similar to Royce, right? It's similar to Royce a little bit, right?
Yeah, Royce used to be like a Dortmund youth player, but he didn't make the cut back then. And then we had to buy him back for like, I think 40-45 million euros from Gladbach, which was Dortmund's biggest transfer. So quite an expensive transfer, but it was worth it. Royce was worth every penny. Yeah, and he just stays because he loves the club.
But a lot of teams, I remember a few years back, they wanted him, but he always committed basically to stay at Dortmund, right? He said he wants to be champions with Dortmund. I remember that.
Yeah. Another player like that was Piszczek. He came from Poland and then he just stayed with Dortmund like his entire career. Schmelzer as well, who still plays for Dortmund, but he's injured all the time because he's quite old now. So we have like a couple of those players that really used to play us for us. Like we all hoped Hummels would be one of those guys, but no, he left for Bayern. We hoped that Götze would be that guy, but he decided to be a little snake.
Wait.
So,
Can I ask you something about that? Why is Götze a snake and Hummels not a snake?
Because Hummels and Lewandowski were quite open about leaving Dortmund. Because they were like, we have 3 years left on our contract. If we don't win the league, we will go to Bayern to win the league. Because just that open. Götze was that kind of player. Like, I have everything in Dortmund. I have my family. Like, I have all my friends. I love everything. I just bought a new house. 1 week later, by the way, guys, I'm off to Bayern. That's why he's a snake. Anyway, coming back to your question from earlier, what I know about Ajax is that you have some properly good players, and and you have some really good youth players as well. I've heard rumors of Anthony, who's like a young Brazilian guy, right? Yeah. He's like left midfielder, left winger, that kind of player. Yeah. Who's wicked fast and really, really technical on the ball, right?
Yeah, he plays on the right wing. He's a lefty.
Oh, he's on the right wing. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, 50% chance to get it right.
Exactly.
No, like I've heard of him. I can't say that I know anything about your midfield. I know that you have Daily Blind as a centre back. We used to play for
left back now.
No, not anymore. We have Lisandro Martinez, who plays now as a centre back instead of him. Which is one, actually, this is a very hot topic basically amongst the fans, because now Blind is no longer our center back, our first choice center back, because our center backs are basically Timber, which is a youth player, and Lisandro Martinez, an Argentinian player. Both of them are very good. However, they're both very short. I mean, that's the thing, and that's why Papimento said, in terms of aerial ability, we have Alvarez, a Mexican who plays on the midfield. He can compensate a little bit by backtracking and helping out. But the aerial ability of ours is a little bit weakening, especially if you guys are on the counter-attack and you guys play. But again, I don't think that will be a problem because, as I understood, Rosa doesn't like to play crosses.
It's not his kind of play, but like if he sees like, especially like if you guys know that like you have quite short center backs. Yeah. Because when you said that Daily Blind plays on the left back, it's like, isn't he slow as a rock? Like a rock rolling uphill, pretty much.
Yes, but he also plays sometimes on the midfield. He's very multifunctional.
Yeah, and we had this discussion before, Juan, that we said like
sorry,
Blind or Tagliafico. Well, against Dortmund, for me, it would be a Tagliafico because we would need his type of speciality more against Dortmund, especially with this so much speed. Not sure if Blind would be the wisest choice to play in that match.
Yeah.
Like if you need the height, you probably need to play Blind, who's a little bit taller than your other centre backs, I can imagine, because otherwise Haaland will bully them. That boy bullies anyone. He bullies Manuel Neuer. Not a lot of people bully Manuel
but Neuer. If you don't bully us in height, you're gonna bully us with Blind in speed, because. So
well, I have to be honest also, you can bully us. Haaland can, of course, bully us. He bullies a lot of opponents. But we have we have a Mexican and we have 2 Argentinians. These are, they have nicknames, basically butchers, all of them. So, no, I'm serious, actually. They bring this South American mentality, which actually always lacked within Ajax. Ajax always the beautiful football, and we have that as well. But we have a very good mix. So if we play all 3 of them, it depends, of course. I think we can play nice, but we can also play very, like tough as well.
Dirty, tough.
Yeah, exactly. So coming back again to the question, you guys are, you cannot deny the fact you guys are basically favorites in this group, right?
Yeah.
Okay. And I would assume all the other fans, Dortmund fans, agree with you. They all say Dortmund are the favorites.
I most certainly hope so, yes.
Okay, and looking now at, does it mean that you guys like think, okay, we have to be first in this group, or you guys think like, look, we have to qualify for this group? What's the standard for you guys?
Usually, the thing is, a couple of years ago, I would have said just advance. We're happy with just advancing. But in the last couple of years, Dortmund has like risen to the status of being one of the like proper top teams in European football. And considering everybody else has that kind of standard of us all like finishing first in the group, we've set that standard for ourselves as well. Like for me personally, I'm just happy if we advance. Like genuinely, I'm just happy if we advance. But being first in a group in Champions League is always way better than being second, considering the opposition you get, like in the round of 16. I think we should like over the 6 games. When are we playing Ajax? Is it like late October, early November?
The third and fourth game are against Ajax. So
around that time. Correct.
We should. I think Zagadou is going to be back in early October. If he plays against Ajax, I genuinely believe that we will win at least one game and draw one of them. I think we will take 4 points from Ajax.
Okay.
I will never say this is going to happen because I know how incredibly unreliable our defense can be. Dortmund is a team who scores a lot of goals forwards, but we let it like just as many in the back. So I think we can have the luxury of being quite optimistic in this group, but I will never underestimate anyone, especially not teams like Sporting and Ajax. You just can't. You just don't have the luxury to do it.
Yeah,
I rate Ajax a little bit higher than that. So I think they're going to split the points, 3 each. And I think the 2 games against Besiktas we will win. Most important is the first game against Sporting.
Yeah.
If we can manage to do that, like a win or a draw, I'll be happy.
All right. So taking it a little bit further, and then we'll end this this podcast. From both of you, I'll start with Johannes. So, what's your expectation in Europe for Dortmund this season? What would be the expectation for you?
I have no idea how they are considering. Like it all considers on the draw. I definitely expect us to make it out of the groups. Otherwise, I will be deeply depressed. No, we have to make it out of the groups. I genuinely believe that we should make the quarterfinals at least because we have such a good squad. Like, if everybody's like, if we only have 2 players injured, we should probably make the quarterfinals. Because I think that Haaland in the Champions League is something else. That boy just, I don't know what happens to him, but he just plays so well in the Champions League. If we would play that well in the Bundesliga, we would win the damn thing.
But that's Haaland is such a unique player, like a whole next level kind of player. Like what we had with De Ligt and Frankie de Jong, that's what Haaland is to you.
Yeah, and all in one person. He's incredible. No, but I genuinely believe like quarterfinal, depending on who we play against there. I don't think we'll win the Champions League this year. Like I would love to say, of course we'll win the Champions League, but I'm being a realist here. Like the teams that will play it out for the Champions League trophy this year are probably going to be City, United, Chelsea, Bayern, and PSG. And maybe Dortmund could be the 6th team in there. I don't know. Italy is in shambles at the moment. Barcelona ain't playing well because they've lost their star player. Real Madrid just recruited Camavinga, but they lost Varane and
Ramos.
Yeah, and Ramos as well. I genuinely believe Dortmund could like be that 6th team like up there, but it all depends on who's staying fit and who's being injured, pretty much. But I think at least quarterfinals.
Clear. Papimento, you about Ajax this season, Europe?
To be honest, if you look just at the names, I would say we have to reach the knockout phase of the Champions League. So that is my expectation. But I do see a significant difference between 18-19 and the team we had back then and now. Like we have decent players. I don't see the De Ligt, Frankie de Jong exceptional players yet. I mean, we do have Gravenberg, Timber, you know, the youngsters with talent, but they're not the level of Frankie and De Ligt. And so for us to really have a good UCL run, it would be that our team plays amazing in the Champions League altogether and not just one player.